Hello, and welcome to episode 1 of the Nick Symmonds Show. I am your host, Nick Symmonds. If you are listening to this, then you managed to find my new podcast, The Nick Symmonds Show. If you're watching this, then you know that there is a video component to the show. Every single Saturday morning, this podcast drops on YouTube at my new channel, The Nick Symmonds Show. So welcome, you guys. Now you know where you can find it. Let's talk about what The Nick Symmonds Show is. The Nick Symmonds Show is a weekly podcast hosted by me, and I love to start the show off with about a 5 to 10 minute monologue where I talk about something that I think can be really helpful for you. We also talk about current events. I want to talk about, things that I think are really pertinent and important to me, but also are going to be applicable and important to you. Now, after I've done my morning monologue, I want to answer some Q&A from my subscribers. If you follow me on Instagram or on my main channel, Nick Symmonds, you know that probably my favorite thing to do is to interact with my subscribers. I absolutely appreciate them. And, the type of content creator that I am, I really create this content for you, but also with you. And that's exactly why the Nick Symmonds Show has a call-in section of the show. After my monologue, we are going to be taking live Q&A from some of my subscribers. And hopefully they're going to come to me prepared with their goals, their big, audacious goals. And I'm going to get a chance to sit down and help them build a path to ultimately achieving those goals. Now, why are goals important? I put this question out on Instagram the other day. I said, would you consider yourself a goal-driven person? And 90% of people said yes, they consider themselves goal-driven people. Now, I am a goal-driven person. I would take it one step further. I am a goal-obsessed person. I can't get through a day if I don't have goals outlined for myself. I'm going to say that again. It's very hard for me to get out of bed if I don't have goals set out for myself. And that's how I've been since I was a little kid. I think the first big audacious goal I set for myself was to become an Eagle Scout. And I did just before my 18th birthday at the cutoff. There is an age limit to getting your Eagle. Just before my 18th, I was able to get my Eagle. And the feeling of accomplishment, the feeling of pride that achievement gave me, I became addicted to it. And I think that is ultimately what allowed me to achieve other big audacious goals of mine, like to graduate college with a degree in biochemistry, to become a 2-time Olympian, to get my pilot's license. For me, having these goals outlaid for myself, it just gets me so amped up about life. I love the dopamine hit in my brain when I achieve a goal. But at the age of 37, having achieved a lot of these goals, I realized that the process of working towards these goals is equally important as the euphoria of actually achieving them. They give my life a sense of purpose. I set goals for all aspects of my life. There are goals for my family. There are goals for my fitness. There are goals for my business. It just gives me so much pleasure to wake up and work towards these things that are important to me. And I know that a lot of my listeners out there, a lot of my subscribers, goals are important to them too. And there are techniques that we can use that can make us more likely to achieve our goals. And on this show, we're going to dig into those techniques, and I'm going to teach you how I set my goals and how I ultimately achieve those goals. And it's a process you can do over and over and over again, and it's a very teachable skill. I'm not selling a course. I'm here to pass along this knowledge. Now, I think in episode 1, it is really important that we jump into what I would say is probably the most important lesson that I'm going to be able to teach you guys. This is the one that has helped me out the most, and it's how to set a SMART goal. There are different types of goal setting. I'm not taking credit for setting SMART goals, but this one has helped me probably more than almost any other technique. It's setting a goal in a way that makes it very attainable. So we're going to go through this acronym, SMART, and dig into what is a SMART goal, what's not a SMART goal, and it's probably going to, I guarantee each one of you right now has a big goal in your head, and by the end of this conversation, I think you're going to be able to reshape that goal into the kind of goal that becomes so achievable, you're going to feel absolute energy and ready to go out and tackle it. Now, let's jump right in. A SMART goal. A SMART goal is specific. State exactly what you want to accomplish. I'm going to use a goal that's not SMART throughout this to give you guys kind of a juxtaposition of what is and isn't a SMART goal. I want to run faster. That's not real specific, right? Like, it's a great wish, and it's a wish that I had a lot, as a younger man, and I know a lot of you wish to run faster, but that's really more of a wish, right? A goal, a smart, specific goal might be, I wish to break 2 minutes in the 800, or I wish to break 3 hours in the marathon. Do you see how adding that level of specificity now makes it kind of more, I don't want to say more attainable, but more, you can wrap your mind around it. You have a concrete metric. And that kind of leads me to number 2, letter M, the second part of this acronym. M, your goals are measurable. You're going to use smaller mini goals to measure your progress. So not only does breaking 3 hours, is that a measurable thing? Well, did you break 3 hours for the marathon or didn't you? That's very measurable. But you can also build what we call KPIs towards your measurable goal. So KPI, a key performance indicator. Let's say you are training to break 3 hours in the marathon. That's a great goal, but how are you going to know? I mean, training for a marathon can take 6 to 12 months. How are you going to know that you're on the path to being successful? Well, we use smaller mini goals to lead us to our ultimate goal. So your first goal, measurable goal, might be, I want to run my first 5-mile run without stopping and walking. You do that and you're well on your way to building the strength that you ultimately need to run a marathon. A second intermediate goal might be, I want to race my first half marathon. You race your first half marathon, you're halfway there to your ultimate goal. So we build these little, I call them building the stepping stones to your ultimate goal. And the cool thing about putting small intermediate goals in between your long-term goal is that as you tackle these little goals, you're building momentum and you're getting, again, that dopamine feedback that I am on the right path, that what I'm doing is working. So I absolutely love setting goals, little goals, medium goals on the way to my long-term goal. Now, is it achievable, right? That's the A in SMART. Is it an achievable goal? I'm going to be honest with you. I'm 37. If I said I want to make the 2021 Tokyo Olympic team, that is not an achievable goal. And I've always been a pragmatist. I've always been the kind of person that sits down and says, okay, what can we achieve? Because if you set your goal too far, too high, it's demoralizing. You just look at this thing off in the distance and you may not be able to get there. It's hard to get out of bed if you don't think you can ultimately attain that goal. I'm constantly doing that for myself here with my business, Run Gum, where I want to set an unachievable goal. And maybe that's a more appropriate goal, 2, 3, 5 years from now. But in the here and now, I need to be setting achievable goals. Now let's get to R, realistic. It kind of ties into achievable, but I'm going to be totally honest with you. This is my least favorite of the letters in the acronym, because realistic means, you're setting a goal that is relevant to your life. And I think for young people, this is especially important because we need to find success early on, right? Whether you're trying to get a college scholarship or you're trying to get your first job, it is important that you be realistic. But I also really believe in dreaming big, and sometimes we set goals for ourselves that maybe aren't realistic. Sometimes we set goals for ourselves that aren't just about, financial success or material success. It's okay to be dreamers. But I think certainly when we're starting to learn about goal setting, and certainly when we're younger, realistic goals are important because we will be less likely to get distracted if we're setting realistic goals. So going back to something that's pertinent to me, if I said, I really want to be a yoga master. It's not really pertinent in my life. If I really wanted to, be the best ballerina, even though in the moment I might be feeling that goal, it's not super relevant to my life, and I may get distracted from that very easily. So when I set goals that are fitness related, when I set goals that are financially related or to my family, I know that I'm going to constantly be thinking, this is important to me because this is an important part of my life. And last, timely. And I really believe this may be the most important letter. I said R may be the least important letter. Well, T is definitely the most important letter of this acronym. Give yourself time, but set a deadline. So the reason why this is so important is it gives you motivation. It gives you a sense of accountability, right? If I say my goal is to break 3 hours in a marathon, well, that is a great goal. It is a smart goal, but without adding a timeline, a deadline, I could just have that goal kind of floating around in the ether in perpetuity. If I say my goal is to break 3 hours in the marathon before the end of 2021, Well, now I just lit a fire under my butt because I have a clock ticking and I got to get going if I'm going to achieve that goal before the end of the year. So I always add a timestamp, a deadline to my goals, and it creates a massive, massive amount of accountability. Now, that's just how I set my goals. There's a number of ways that I then outline, little things that I do to help make myself more likely to achieve those goals. That's a totally another episode. Maybe we'll jump into that next week. But I want to hear from some callers. I want to hear what you guys have decided is your big goal. And then I think today would be a really appropriate way for us to take people's goals and ultimately shape them into SMART goals. So we're going to jump into that right now. We're going to take our first caller. All right, you guys, I hope you found that helpful. Again, every single Monday, I'll have little lessons just like that for you. These clips, of course, they will be appearing on Nick Symmonds 2, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. We have 4 videos coming up this week that will be clips from the Nick Symmonds Show. If you want to see the show in its entirety, I'll link it right here. Thank you, guys. I'll see you tomorrow.